Alrighty, people. It's a big week. It's a big week, y'all. Lots of you need to get that win to secure a playoff spot or to get back into the picture. I appreciate y'all for being here with me. Do me a favor, hit that like button as today's stream starts. We've got a lot to cover. We'll talk through injuries, and then I will answer your fantasy football questions. I appreciate you for being here with me. Hopefully you've had a fantastic start of your weekend. And I'm going to tell you exactly how today's stream is going to go. Alrighty. Okay, so here's how today's stream is going to go. We will be answering questions, and of course the questions through the site, as we've said for over a couple months now, the questions through the site will be the first ones that get prioritized. So if you're out there and you really want to get your question answered, guaranteed reply, there's a link in the chat. That's a pinned comment. I'll also put another link in the chat just now, a fresh one for you. But if you want to ask a question, that is the best place to get a guaranteed reply, to skip the queue, to prioritize yourself. Great system over there. Just so you know, YouTube takes 30% of your donation, so we're trying to get people over to this site. And also, you don't have to wait around for me to answer your question. What will happen on the site is you'll get a time code to exactly when I answered your question, which is absolutely fantastic. You can hop on whenever, get a direct link to your answer. It's a great system for you. This is what the site looks like. Okay, so you can ask for a team review, a trade question, a start sit, a super message. First things first, if you haven't linked your account yet, then definitely do so. And if you don't have an account yet, get one for free. All right, flockfantasy.com/land. Now, when you use our promo code LAND, LAND, you're going to get a couple things for free at sign up. First off, the My Team Analyzer. As long as you have a Sleeper, ESPN, or Yahoo League, you link those up, you can see exactly where you rank amongst the rest of your league. For example, you can see here in the Flock League where I rank amongst the rest of ours. I'm up here at 2. They got me and Avery at the top. You also get expert consensus rankings for free, the trade calculator for free again. And then just by using the promo code LAND at sign up. And then once you've linked your teams, it's so easy to ask a question. You can see your linked teams on the left. It automatically enters your settings. And then what you'll do is you'll find your first player. I know I'm going to play Joe Burrow. And then the rest, just tell us who you're considering at each position. Go through, say exactly who you're considering at each position, and then we will have the complete picture to answer your questions. So definitely, if you want to get your questions prioritized, get them in through the website. Of course, if there are super chats, I'll get to those as well, but I'll just prioritize those website questions. I appreciate you being here with me. Again, be a friend, hit that like button. I got a like goal today of 75 likes. With your help, I think we can get there, and it's going to be a good day. All right, it's going to be a good day to have a good day. All right, so let's start off with some news. All right, first things first, Tony Pollard is expected to play. So if you're out there and you had him and you were unsure, Pollard is going to go this week. So no need to fear there, I guess. He'll be out there this week, and it's a good matchup for him. Kendre Miller's placed on the IR. It's a damn shame. Again, he looked great. Doesn't matter. Mason Rudolph's going to start for the Titans here. Will Levis will be back at some point, so be aware of that. Adam Thielen downgraded to out, also a good trade candidate. Jonathan Brooks is out. They have to activate him before next week or he will be done for the year. The Commanders elevated Chris Rodriguez Jr. to the active squad, which is not a good sign for Brian Robinson, who's remaining questionable for week 9 with that hamstring injury. Jalen McMillan, random pop-up of a hamstring back into the week. Not a good sign for him to play this week. In fact, I'd say he's more than likely not going to play, which is a damn shame. Zeke is inactive because of disciplinary reasons. And now Dalvin Cook is going to take his place for the old guy who doesn't get any work. So that will be cool. Drake May's cleared concussion protocol. So if you're out there and you want to stash a wide receiver, Kayshon Boutte should be stashed, and obviously your Pop Douglases. Puka Nacua expected to play. We got a little scary there, all right? I know it's Halloween, but got a little scary there for a second for Puka, but he's expected to play. I'm not going to lie, though. I'm not going to lie. It's a little scary owning Puka Nacua right now. Jordan Love expected to play as well, which is great. That's fantastic news for your Jaden Reeds, for your Romeo Dobbs. your Tucker Crafts, any pass catching receiver, or even Josh Jacobs, to be honest. Tank Bigsby's questionable. I think that's pretty much all of the news. DK is out. Tyrone Tracy is going to play, which is fantastic. He's going to be able to continue his run. Derek Carr is going to be your starter this week, I believe. He is not on the injury report anymore. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you need to know. T. Higgins not playing as well. But that's, I mean, I'll sound like a broken record at this point. Cool little feature we just got on the Flock Fantasy site. Today's top 10 supporters. Slush Monkey with a team review is up at the top. So now when you guys donate, it'll keep track, I guess, of the weekly highest, the month highest, and the day highest, which is cool. New little feature over here. But all right, let's start with Chef Porg. So Chef Porg, this is a start-sit question. It's a Dynasty PPR 1 quarterback with big play bonuses. So he's starting Kyler Murray, and that would be my option there. Ken Walker, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra, London. At tight end, they're considering Kincaid and Ferguson. I think I got to go with Jake Ferguson here. Kincaid is just an option, unfortunately, in the offense. We definitely thought that Kincaid would be the guy in this offense before the season, but that's just not the case. He's just an option, and you know, that just makes a ton of sense, right? Because you spend a first-round pick on a tight end, You spend a first-round pick on a tight end to have them be like your fourth option, right? I mean, that's how we operate NFL teams, right, guys? You understand. At the flex spot, he's got a lot of great options like JSN, Jaden Reed, Devonta Smith, Dalton Kincaid, Ladd McConkey, DeAndre Swift, Kareem Hunt. So lots of great options here. With, all right, there's a couple guys that are definitely going to be in play for me. For example, we're going to play Devonta Smith. Where is he? Where are you at, Devonta? Devonta's in play for sure. We're going to play Jaden Reed now that we've got the all clear from Jordan Love. And then our last flex spot, we're considering JSN, Kincaid, McConkey, Swift, Kareem Hunt. And for me, this is going to be DeAndre Swift, versus the Arizona Cardinals. I'm a big fan of DeAndre Swift this week. You know, he's been on a tear since they kind of changed the identity of their offense. Cardinals giving up a ton of points to a lot of running backs. They're top 8 in rushing yards and total yards allowed per game. And DeAndre Swift, since week 4, is the RB3 on a points per game basis in PPR points per game. So that's the way we're going to lean there this week. It's a great team, Chef, so you should feel very, very good about that. All right. Next question here is from Blue. 1 quarterback, 12 teams, start 7. We're starting Daniels. We've got an RB2 decision here. You can't sit Josh Jacobs. I just don't think you can sit Jacobs this week. At wide receiver, my goodness. How in the world? This is a 12-team league? Okay. All right. I mean, Are we serious? A 12-team league? How in the... All right. Let's look at the rankings, Zach. I mean, quite frankly, I have no idea who to tell you to sit here. I have no idea how I'm supposed to make that call, but we will try our best here. All right. So I would really struggle to sit, and how the fuck am I supposed to tell you to sit one of these names, dude? This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, man. All right, well, we're not going to sit Tyreek Hill. I just can't do that. I'm not going to sit Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Lions face the Packers. And at flex, I'm supposed to decide between 3 superstars in the NFL. That's absolutely crazy. Puka Nacua is a little bit more risky for me this week. I'm still going to play him everywhere I have him, but I'm probably going to play Cooper Kupp over him. Malik Neighbors versus Washington is an absolute smash, but we're going to go Cooper Kupp here. I can't suggest this more to your roster. You need to consolidate. You have way too many difficult options on a week-to-week basis. Use Puka Nacua and Josh Jacobs and go get, you know, Javon Achane and someone else back. Use Puka Nacua and Josh Jacobs and go get, you know, we're trying to aim for the absolute ceiling here and improve your roster as much as you possibly can. So For example, go get a Saquon Barkley. Go get a Derrick Henry, right? Shoot, go get a Joe Mixon and someone else in return. Like, improve your RB2 spot. My goodness, this is crazy. Good luck. That is chaos. Blue. All right, we got Billy Spriggs in the building. I appreciate you, Billy. All love, my man. He says, love you guys. Keep grinding. Billy was supporting us from day one. Billy was supporting us before we even had good content on YouTube, or before we even took YouTube seriously. Billy was supporting us from day one when it was just a podcast. We had like 100 followers on Instagram, 30 listens per podcast. He was the foundation. So it's a Dynasty 10 team start 7. He's starting Baker Mayfield. Got to start Jordan Love now that he's playing and healthy. At running back, between Rachaad White and Chuba Hubbard, I am going to go Chuba this week versus Saints. Their rush defense has been piss poor. You already started Tank Dell. You're starting CeeDee Lamb. Between Njoku and Kyle Pitts, that is a tough decision this week. I am going to go Njoku by 1 spot. And then at the flex spot, I think you're going to play Rachaad White this week. A lot of good players on bye. I like Jacoby. I like Kyle, but I'm going to go Rachaad White. They're just using their running backs so effectively in Tampa Bay. All right, what's up, Jan? Appreciate you, Jan. So Jan with a super message here, and they say, I'm in a 10-team keeper league. 1 keeper league. I own Collins, Henry, Gibbs, and Wilson. Who would you keep? Well, Jan, here's the thing with keeper leagues, guys, is every keeper league is a little bit different, y'all, right? So think about from this perspective. You could be in a keeper league, and I know you said you have 1 keeper. You could be in a keeper league where you keep multiple keepers, where you just keep them and you restart the draft from scratch, where you keep them, but it's attached to a draft pick. For example, you know, you have to keep Nico Collins, but you have to give up your 2nd round pick next year, right? So there's like a whole lot of, I guess, different settings to each user there. But here's what I would say, okay? Assuming you don't have to use a pick on any of these players, I'm probably between Collins, Henry, and Gibbs, and it is genuinely way too early to answer this, by the way. I want you to think about this because we haven't seen the NFL draft. We haven't seen free agency. Players will still get injured. So much can change. But as of right now here today, I'm probably keeping Nico Collins because in a keeper league, especially if there's no expiry date on your keepers, he is just like the youngest, most elite player in that list. But, you know, that could change. That could easily change. What's up, Bud Hyde Bry? Says, thoughts on this trade, or would you change something around, or do you like my current team? Okay, so, wow, this is a blockbuster. It's a 10-team start 8. They are getting Saquon, McCaffrey, Downs, and Devontae Adams. And they would be sending away Breece, Walker, Dobbs, McMillan, Terry. Okay, here's the way I view this trade. I want Saquon over Breece, but it's not crazy. I want CMC over Walker when healthy. I want Downs over the combo of Dobbs, McMillan. And as far as Devontae Adams and Terry, I think it's pretty even. So, yeah, there's enough reason for me to go with the Saquon side of this. And also, it's a 10-team league, smaller type of format. That's enough for me to go ahead and say, yeah, let's just take the pure upside with a Saquon, CMC, Downs, and Adams. Hopefully, you can get your hands on Jordan Mason for cheap as well to cover that off. All right, Slush Monkey here with a team review. It's a redraft, 1 quarterback, 10-team start 7. We'll do this now because it is a redraft team. Those dynasty teams are a little bit different. But yeah, you can get your team reviewed on stream if you so choose. No pressure to do so, obviously. But let's have a look at Slush Monkey's team here. It says, I've sent this team about a week ago. Nothing's changed. I was hoping I could get some trade recommendations. Context of the league. Ramondre and Marvin for Swift got denied. Wow. Week 11 is trade deadline, and my people only seem interested in London at the moment. Hoping to have London and Collins on my team. All right. So, First off, week 11 is way too early for a trade deadline. Now, respectfully, I had someone on the stream last week say that their trade deadline was week 8. That's chaos. And they said that their commissioner was afraid people would collude towards the end of the year. So basically their commissioner just doesn't like to have fun. He's a party pooper and over managing. Week 11 still feels early to me. Our trade deadline, I think, is week 13 or 14 in our leagues. So that's pretty early. Anything that stops people from having fun, I don't like. But anyway, you probably can't change that. But the fact that Ramondre and Marvin for Swift got denied, first off, you should thank whoever denied that, because that's ridiculous. Marvin and Swift are pretty evenly valued. And if we look at DeAndre Swift's upcoming games, I'm not sure I'd want to be buying him right now, right? So if you look at this stretch coming up, okay, so after New England, week 12 onwards, talk about players with like the worst matchup in the fantasy playoffs. From week 12 onwards, DeAndre Swift has Minnesota, Detroit, San Francisco, Minnesota, Detroit. And then is Seattle the first game you're excited about for DeAndre Swift from week 12 onwards? So talk about players who are potential sell highs. Maybe I'll talk about them in an upcoming video. But look at the schedule, guys. He had the Rams. He had the Panthers, the Jags, Commanders. I mean, that schedule couldn't be more easy when he hit. So talk about a sell high candidate. I'm glad that that was denied. But your team name is Big Sleep. You are currently 5th out of 10 teams. You've currently got a record of 4-4. All right, and you're definitely in that playoff race. Definitely haven't secured a spot. You've got Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins. First things first, I would start Kirk Thuggins this week. Love him against the Dallas Cowboys. Not a big fan of Baker Mayfield's matchup versus the Chiefs. After that, you've got Breece Hall, who obviously didn't perform well on Thursday Night Football. You've got Ramondre, Jonathan Brooks. You've got Collins, London, Marvin, Smith, Keon, and McBride. All right, 10 teams start 7. Here's the players I don't want to move. McBride, Nico, Breece. Ideally, we keep London as well. Those are kind of your untouchables, if you will. Now, going to your waiver wire. First off, you've got Bo Nix on your waiver wire. Ooh, that's interesting. Drake May. At running back, you've got really good options. Jordan Addison's on your waiver wire? All right, we got to pick up Jordan Addison, man. Come on now. So, really, your goal should be a 2-for-1 deal. I'm sure we said something similar last week, but you've got to do a 2-for-1 deal here. Like, you mentioned that Ramondre Marvin was denied for Swift. That's crazy. But let's find a team that is maybe wide receiver needy. So, for example, this guy has Reed, McConkey, Flowers, Tillman, and Deontay. That sucks. Can you get Ken Walker off this guy or CMC? Well, you can't get CMC because you need to win right now. You could get Bucky in CMC. All right, so there's a couple options with Read My Lips. So let's try and package a Devonta Smith and a Ramondre Stevenson. Devonta Smith, Ramondre Stevenson, try and get Ken Walker. Devonta Smith, Ramondre Stevenson, try and get CMC and Bucky. That's option number 1. Let's do that same package and go and try and get... This guy could definitely use help at wide receiver. I mean, he's desperate at wide receiver. But he already denied your trade, so this guy's going to be a terrible team. He's 2-6, and he's not going to make moves because he thinks he's smarter than everybody, and his roster will just decline week after week. So that's unfortunate that he has no simple ability to recognize that his team is in a tough position and he needs to make a trade. I'm shocked he denied that trade from you. That's ridiculous. All right, let's keep looking. This guy has Mike Evans. Maybe he needs help at wide receiver. Can you go get an Aaron Jones from him? Ramondre Stevenson and Devonta Smith for Aaron Jones. And, you know, Waddle or Keenan if he's able to do that. Ramondre Stevenson and Devonta Smith. Can we go get... You don't want to get Pollard. You're not going to get A-Chain. Can you go get a James Cook, for example? Can you turn Ramondre Stevenson and Keon Coleman into a James Conner? That would make a lot of sense for your team. I think those are your main options there at running back, and I don't think there's really another area of your team that you can really improve. Ideally, you need to do a 2-for-1, and then once you've done that 2-for-1, you need to go to your waivers and pick up Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison is going to be much better than what he's been so far. So, yeah, again, we want to turn a Keon and Ramondre, a Devonta or and a Ramondre into a better RB2, a more reliable RB2. You could even try and flip Keon Coleman into like a Tyrone Tracy, for example. So you definitely have some flexibility. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Slush Monkey, if your league is turning down trades where you give them Marvin and Ramondre for Swift, then they're completely unaware of how to value players. So it might be tough to get a deal done. Overall, I'd give your team like when Nico Collins is healthy, a solid B flat, right? A healthy Nico Collins is going to drastically improve your roster. But keep in mind, you can only start 7, right? So when Nico Collins is back, each week you're going to be deciding between Devonta Smith and Marvin Harrison at your flex spot. So it's okay to kind of cash in on some of that depth. And again, then pick up Jordan Addison rest of season. So yeah, very good roster. Again, you've got to do 2-for-1 deals across the board here. That's really your best option. Turning Ramondre Stevenson and a wide receiver, a Devonta Smith, a Keon Coleman into an Aaron Jones like we talked about. I'm glad you didn't get the Swift deal done because that's a ridiculous deal. Into a CMC Bucky Irving could work as well if they want to get off that train. Turning Keon into Tyrone Tracy. Those are some options. Now, of course, if your league isn't willing to comply, James Conner, if you did the Keon Ramondre deal, then, you know, you gotta have a dancing partner, right? You can't go on Dancing with the Stars and do it by yourself. So hopefully that's helpful, Slush Monkey. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the love and the support. All right, Shady. Guess who's back? Back again. Do me a favor, hit that like button on today's stream. Got a like goal of 75 likes. With your help, I know we can get there. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the love and the support. Shady here, and if you want to get your question prioritized, check out our website. I'll put a link in the chat for you. All right, Shady here. 2 quarterback, 10 teams start 9. They've got Jalen Hurts. They've got Tua starting. At running back, they're going Ken Walker, Kyron Williams, Tyreek Olave. At tight end, they're stuck between Tucker Kraft and TJ Hawkinson. For me, I'm going to go Tucker Kraft, especially now that Jordan Love is healthy. I do see, you know, a potential high-scoring game between the Lions and the Packers. And as far as TJ goes, I don't know if he's on a snap count. I don't know his involvement from day one, how seamlessly he will be worked into the offense. So I just would rather wait and see on him. At the flex spot, you've got some great options, but we're going to go with Jaden Reed. Again, Jordan Love is back. That's so good for your team, by the way, with the amount of Packers you have. And then we're stuck between names like Stevenson, McConkey, and Tillman. And this week, I am going to go Lab McConkey. Big fan of his matchup this week. You know, him versus the Browns. You have been able to throw on the Browns recently. They are top 10 matchup. And when you adjust for schedule as well, Cleveland is still a top 10 matchup. Right there amongst the names like the Falcons, the Panthers, the Bengals, the Bucks. So it's definitely, it's such a strange situation in Cleveland because they're such a talented roster. They're such a talented team. But you can beat them right now through the air and on the ground. It's honestly a little bit perplexing to try and figure out that roster over there in Cleveland. So that's how I would run with it. Good luck, Shady. Appreciate you. All right. Snubs in the building. 1 quarterback, 12 teams start 8. We're starting Sam Darnold. That's how I would have it this week over. I'd be starting Sammy D as well over Tua. Not anti-Tua this week necessarily, but I just don't like the matchup. I don't like the history versus Buffalo. Sam Darnold versus the Colts with Joe Flacco should be a high-scoring affair. I'm a big fan of that. Aaron Jones, Kyron, CD, Garrett Wilson. You're stuck between Laporta and Kincaid. So no Jameson Williams again. Yeah, man, Kincaid is so disappointing. Kincaid is so disappointing. I'm gonna have to go Laporta with no Jameson Williams, and then at the flex between Waddle, Tyrone, and Kincaid. This is really between Waddle and Tyrone for me. I think Tyrone is your safety option if you feel like you're gonna win, and Waddle is your upside play. If you need to shoot for the absolute moon, you start Jalen Waddle. If you need safety, you go Tyrone Tracy. Okay, that's the way I would digest it. That's how I would go ahead and cook it up in the kitchen. I appreciate you. Good luck this week. All right, I got to let you guys know, if you are going to be spamming in the chat, I'm going to have to put you in timeout. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But if you're making the chat worse for everyone else so you could spam your question, I'm going to have to put you in timeout. I don't want to do it. But if you've sent 20 messages in the past 5 minutes, come on. You're better than that. All right? This isn't preschool. I don't have to tell you. You got to raise your hand, you know. Be patient. I love you, but come on. You're making the chat worse for everybody. If you do want your question absolutely prioritized, you've got a way to do that through the website. And we're going to go in order here. All right, a San Fran 49er fan. Do I need RB1 teams stacked? Seems like a no-brainer, though. So it looks like you get Mixon and London. You send away Tyreek and Chubb. The way that Mixon is playing, man, he looks like an absolute league winner. So this is going to be hard for me to say no. I just don't know when Nick Chubb becomes that former Nick Chubb, if it happens at all this year. But Tyreek Hill is still my wide receiver one rest of season. I know he's not everybody's wide receiver one rest of season. I still think he's going to be so good. Man, it's hard not to take the Joe Mixon side of this, though. Joe Mixon looks like a certified league winner right now. I mean, he's dominating touches. He looks so good. He looks like the best version of himself ever. Yeah, I think we're going to go Joe Mixon side of this. Appreciate you, man. All right, Taylon Davis here with a start sit. I'm still going to start Kyler Murray, I believe. Let me double check. It is a tough matchup. Yeah, by one spot, we're going to start Kyler Murray. Just that rushing upside is hard to deny. You've got Achane starting. I am going to start Josh Jacobs over Chase Brown, even though Chase Brown's a great play. At wide receiver, we are going to put Marvin in the lineup. And then at flex, man, look at all these options you've got. I really think Chase Brown, McConkey, and Waddle are all in the same tier for me. That's a very difficult one to answer. I couldn't really give a strong indication towards any of these names. Man, what I would say is I think Chase Brown's your safest floor, especially with Zach Moss potentially being out. Doubtful. Zach Moss is doubtful. I think they will really lean on Chase Brown in this game. He might have a career high in carries. He might get up there in the 17 range for carries. It's a great matchup versus the Raiders. So again, really tough. We know Waddle can go for 40 at any game, but he doesn't have the floor Chase Brown does. We'll go Chase Brown there. Real close. Real close. All right. Chrome Football here says, start sit question. I appreciate you. Also, Baltimore or Cincy D this week. Thanks, fellas. So, remember, Baltimore is facing the Broncos. Cincy is facing the Raiders. I probably lean Cincy there. Let me just double check. So, again, Cincinnati against the Raiders. That's one of the better matchups in fantasy for your defense. Baltimore's a great defense, but you can throw on them. And it's funny, like, you'll roster the Baltimore Ravens defense. In the first half, you're like, yeah, this was a good play. This is a good idea. And in the second half, they get completely shredded through the air. And you finish with barely any points. I'm going to go Cincinnati. I just think there's a higher chance of turnovers in Cincinnati. Now, Bo Nix was turning the ball over in the first 2 weeks, but from week 3 onwards, he only has 1 turnover. He's been much better taking care of that ball. And then the rest of your roster, you got Caleb. I guess that's your best option there. Tyrone's a great play. Neighbors at tight end. We're going to go with Travis Kelce. At flex, We are going to put Jalen Waddle in there. Unfortunately, DK has been ruled out, but Jalen Waddle is going to be our flex. And then between Ferguson, Rico, and Calvin, this is pretty close, to be honest. Whew, that's a tough call there. Falcons are a tough rush defense. I'm not sure I love Rico this week. He's a fine option for your floor. I think Jake Ferguson is your safety, and Calvin Ridley is your upside. Okay, so again, looking at your matchup, how do you want to play it? Do you want to shoot for upside? Then go ahead and put Calvin Ridley in there, and let's hope that they just continue to target him like Malik Neighbors in New York. But if you want some safety, you think you're going to win, then Jake Ferguson is your best option. Appreciate you, Chrome. Main Yo, 79. One quarterback, 12-team start, 7. So, you're starting Bo Nix, which I like this week versus the Ravens. You've got Saquon. You've got Kareem the Dream. You've got Amon-Ra. Then Calvin or Keon. I need to double check on this. I'm not a huge fan of Keon this week, but I also don't want to start Calvin Ridley if I can help it. I do think Keon is your best option here. Just don't trust Calvin just yet. And then between Calvin and JK, I actually hate both of these guys. Well, I hate JK's matchup, but he's just so safe. He's just such a safe option. So I am going to go ahead and lean on J.K. Dobbins there, just the safety that he presents with the touches that he'll get. But again, not happy about it, right? I mean, I'm not happy about having to do that, but I just feel like it's your best option. Tony, what's up, man? He says, what did Tony say here? He says, just signed up through your website. How can I put my question in so you can answer it? Very, very simple, guys, all right? If you've signed up on the website, this process couldn't be simpler. I'll put a link in the chat for you. Here you go. All right, the link is in the chat. It's also pinned in the comment. It'll take you to a page that looks like this. Let's say you want to ask a start-sit question, for example. Well, you click on that. Once you've linked your teams up on the left, it'll automatically import your league settings. You hit continue. Click on the first player that you know is on your team. So, for example, I know I'm locked in playing Joe Burrow. But when you go through the rest of your roster, you need to tell us if you're locked in on a player or if you're considering. So, for example, RB2, I'm considering Mixon and Taylor. And you go through your entire lineup, right? And you tell us, again, who you're considering at your flex spots, who you know you're going to play. That gives us as much information as we have as we look at your roster. So you're considering McBride and Tucker Kraft. Once you have filled out your entire roster, you hit continue, and then you'll find Land, L-A-N-D, where you can ask us a question. All right, we do have some more questions over here. Shout out to P-Pov. Again, the top leaderboard is still Slush Monkey for the day, week, and month. This is brand new. They just released this over on the Flock site. But we do have P-Pov, who is second today in donations. Brizzleton in third. You guys are awesome. Pataki submitting a question. All right, let's have a look. P-Pov here. P-Pov 26 says, just traded Dowdle and Shakir for Downs. Do I start Downs over Reed? Thank you. Let's have a look here. Bro is making us pay to ask a question. My friend, look yourself in the mirror. No one's making you do anything. No one is making you do anything on this stream. If you want to prioritize your question, there's a way you can do it. You don't want to? No pressure. Chill out. There's probably someone who has a similar question to you. Watch, hear the thoughts. If it's worth it to you, perfect. If it's not, no hard feelings. Move along. You know, you'll be fine, I'm sure, without us. If you want to hear our thoughts, it's available to you. You know how to get it. If you'd like to support the channel, if you'd like to support us, you know how to do it. If you don't, there's no pressure, right? Free country. You know that. P-Pov here says, just traded Dowdle and Shakir for Downs. Do I start Downs over Reed? Dowdle and Shakir for Downs. Do I start Downs over Reed? Well, now with Jordan Love back, that's tough, man. That's tough now with Jordan Love back. Let's see. I really, really like Josh Downs this week, but I am going to have to play Jaden Reed over him. I can't sit Jaden Reed. Yeah, I mean, especially now that game script looks even better, right? I mean, you think about it. Lions are going to be able to put up points, and now with Jordan Love, they're going to be able to put up points. It should be a high-scoring affair, divisional matchup. Anything goes. There's always craziness in these matchups. So, yeah, I'm going to go Jaden Reed there, man. All right, Brizzleton Jones, what's up, man? Says, lost Godwin and Nico for a little longer. Brian Thomas is a game-time decision. I don't know if I should start Myers over Andrews. All right, so Dynasty two-team. Two quarterback, 10 team start 9. We've got Goff, Allen, Henry, Kyron, London Ladd. And then at the flex spot, you've got names like Jacoby Myers. You've got Brian Thomas if he plays. Yeah, that's interesting. And your question really is, should I start Myers over Andrews? I'm starting Jacoby Myers this week. I really like Jacoby Myers against the Bengals. He's a great play. He's averaging over 30% target share since Devontae Adams went down with that injury. I do like, Mark Andrews. Just the touchdown upside is what's keeping him in these games. I think I'd have it exactly how you would. Now, of course, if Brian Thomas plays, we'll replace Jacoby Myers with him. But currently, given your options, I think you've got the best available roster for this week. I'm sorry you lost Godwin. That's trust, man. That's tough. And as far as Laporta goes, I trust him a little bit more than Mark Andrews just because there is no Jameson Williams. It's a game that I could see the Lions needing to throw the ball more than the Ravens this week. So that's how I will go myself. All right, LeVar Ball says, do I flex Chase Brown or Cup? Projected to win by 30 with Garrett's 30 points on Thursday Night Football, but it's a must-win week. Great start for you, man. Great start. You can't sit Cooper Kupp, man. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit Cooper Kupp. I don't even see Cooper Kupp as an option. Where's Cooper Kupp? Is he on your roster? I don't know if he's on your roster or not. Well, the question is Chase Brown or Cooper Kupp, but I don't see Cooper Kupp on your roster. Look, if the question is Chase Brown or Cooper Kupp, I'm going Cooper Kupp. I don't know what other Kupp it could be. What other Kupp could it be, man? I don't know, dude. I don't know if there's LeVar Ball's normally in the chat with us. I don't see him. Interesting. Look, if it's Cooper Kupp, you have to play him. Otherwise, Chase Brown is your best option here. Especially now that there's no Zach Moss. I probably should update my rankings, actually, for Chase Brown. I would have Chase Brown as like a top... Honestly, I'd have him as like a top 20 play now. Yeah, he'd be a top 20 running back. The matchup is great. No Zach Moss to vulture any touchdown opportunities. Chase Brown's a great option. But, of course, you're not going to sit Cooper Kupp. CRB56 says, am I giving up too much? Could also try for JJ. So you send away Brian Thomas and DK Metcalf to get Nico Collins. It's a 10-team start 7. I mean, look, when Nico Collins is back and healthy, does anybody, like, let's be honest here for a second. Let's say Nico Collins was healthy today. Where would you rank him amongst wide receivers? Would he not be the wide receiver 1? I mean, he's even more needed now. There's no Stephon Diggs rest of the way. Even with Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell there, I mean, he was the wide receiver 1 anyway. I don't know, man. I think this is too much. I do think you are giving up too much. Like, let's get something back in this deal. Like, send Brian and DK, but... you know, get another little upgrade here. So, for example, can you send them a Pickens and get a Debo on the back end? Right? Let's add another little upgrade there. I mean, that's projection for me, right? With no Ayuk rest of season. Actually, I feel like Nico and Debo is pretty fair as well. You might be, I guess, making the deal less attractive for him at that point. But can you add like a... Man, this is tough. Jerome Ford is not someone we really care about rostering at this point. Yeah, this is a tough one, man. Add a Debo. As much as I love Downs, send a Downs his way. That feels like it'll work out a little bit better for you. Add a Debo and a Downs. And if this guy wants to win right now anyway, Downs is going to help him do that this week. Not Debo. It's pretty close, though. All right, Badaki. Okay. I know exactly who this is with. I know exactly what league this is. I know exactly who it's with. Because I've been negotiating with this person as well. Here's my issue, Badaki. This player right here, Deontay Johnson, and I told Sal this. It's not a surprise, but I have zero interest in rostering this player or trading for this player. I could be totally wrong, but I have absolutely no interest in trading for Deontay Johnson. I don't want him on my roster. He could have a great game this week, and he could disappear next week. Think about it. First round pick Zay Flowers, who is electric, one of the most exciting players on that team, is boom bust every week depending on if they need to throw the ball. Think about how many times they'll be up in the game. How many times will they even need to target Deontay Johnson? So that's my issue, is like I know Deontay has value, but I almost view him as like a zero factor moving forward. And that's harsh. I understand that's harsh for me. But I just don't know if there's a single time I'm going to be able to start Deontay Johnson with any confidence. So my issue with it is that's really the issue with it. I think the only area you're clearly upgrading is London from Reed. But you and I love Jaden Reed. We've talked about his playoff schedule. So you have to decide if that's worth it to you. No disrespect to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen hasn't been like the guy he was drafted to be. I want Josh Allen, you know, but is Josh Allen the upgrade you thought he was in years past? I mean, from week 4 onwards, you got a 7-point game, 14, 24, 21, 20, which is good. It's not all that different from any other quarterback. It's not like his schedule in the playoffs is super hot. I mean, what, from week 4 onwards, what has he been for fantasy? And that could change, by the way, because they added Amari Cooper. It looks like they want to throw the ball a little bit more, but from week 4 onwards, Josh Allen is a quarterback 12, right? If we want to go points per game basis, he's actually the quarterback 16. All right. Caleb is averaging more, Cousins, Nicks, Love, Burrow. So if this was 2023, 2022, Josh Allen, I think that's the perceived massive upgrade from a Jordan Love. And look, I've sent him deals where I'm sending Burrow and Baker as part of the deal as well. I still want Josh Allen over all these names. But Josh Allen isn't like the reason I'm going to make a trade right now. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I get why Sal wants to extract as much as he can out of Josh Allen. He rightfully should be doing that. But yeah, I mean, like if you were rocking with like a Caleb Williams, if you were Mason Dodd right now, for example, and every week you're like, do I start A-Rich? Do I start, well, A-Rich is gone now, or do I start, who's he got now? Caleb Williams. Like, that would make a lot of sense because you're getting such a clear, visible upgrade. But I don't see that here. I don't see that. Josh Allen has not, like, the Josh Allen owners want to extract as much value out of him, and they should. But he has not been the Josh Allen you drafted him to be. If we redid a draft today, he's not going anywhere near the second or third round. He's just not. It wouldn't even be close. So, yeah, it's just the issue is Deontay Johnson, and that's what I've found has made it really tough for me to do a deal. Is that understandably so? Sal is trying to get rid of Deontay. I just don't want him. Like, so yeah. You have to decide if the Drake London upgrade is worth it for you. I love Jaden Reed's playoff matchup. Up to you, dude. Up to you. I think you can make a case for either side. But it's just... yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like that's as much as I can say. I hope for Sal's sake he's able to figure something out, though. All right, we got a super message here from Hospice CNA Drummer. And the super message is Rachaad White or Madison as RB2. We're going to go Rachaad White there. I know the Chiefs are a bad matchup, but the entire offense is built around those running backs right now, especially if there's no McMillan. We could see Rachaad White and Bucky Irving both get like 8 targets this game. I know that sounds crazy, but it's legitimately possible. I mean, last week they both had over 6 targets. Why wouldn't it be possible this week for them to both go over that number? So I'll go Rachaad White. And then I'm going to go with Josh Downs over Darnell Mooney. Appreciate you, man. Kua G, what's up? Kua G says, have Evans out, Williams suspended, need 2 wide receivers. All right, so it's a 12-team, start 7, half PPR. Kua G. Jordan Love, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. At wide receiver 2, this would be Jacoby Myers for me, oddly enough. Love his matchup versus the Bengals. And then at wide receiver 2, you probably have to go Amari Cooper at this point. Have to hope that he gets more involved because you don't have any other clear, better options. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the way I would look at this one. Appreciate you, Kua. All right, I think that's all the questions through the website, y'all. Let me just double check here. Yes, that is all the questions through the website for now. Yes, Buka, your question will get answered. I do my absolute best, guys, before every stream and pretty much on every stream to explain to you guys exactly how the streams go. In case you were a late, if you didn't hear that at the beginning, the way every stream goes, guys, is very, very simple. We start every stream through the website. All right. If you ask a question through the website, it will always get prioritized first, no matter what. After that, if there's any donations in the YouTube chat from Super Chats, we will go through those. But of course, I feel like we are very transparent at the beginning of every stream. And I think that's something that you can be honest with us as well. We are very transparent about exactly how it all works here. All right. So again, you want to prioritize your question. The website is a great option. And by the way, you know, why someone would ask that question is they're probably like frustrated that they're having to wait around to be answered, even though they've donated. But this is why the website is, I can't emphasize this enough. This is why the website is much, much better, because you get sent a time code to exactly when your question get answered over there on the website, guys. You don't have to wait around. All right. It will send you a direct link to exactly when I've answered your question. But we are over here on YouTube. I appreciate the donations. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Already over 75 likes. You guys are absolutely incredible. Let's get to some of these super chats. And of course, you can still donate through the site if you so please. First super chat's from Michael. All right. Michael says, pick 3, Kupp, Hill, Devonta Smith, Ridley, London, Brian Thomas. So I can't sit Tyreek Hill. I can't sit Cooper Kupp. And I can't sit Drake London. So those would be my 3, Kupp, Hill, London. You have a lot of good options, though. You might want to consider consolidation there. Next super chat is from Buka. We got to you, brother. Here we are. Buka says, would you trade Tyrone in a late first for Jonathan Taylor? That's interesting. Tyrone looks great, but he doesn't have this long-term contract that Jonathan Taylor does. He's not the same prospect. as much as I love him, this could be an Antonio Gibson situation where, you know, converted wide receiver turned running back, looks incredible as a rookie, makes waves straight away, and then the team brings in another guy to kind of complement him. Whereas with Jonathan Taylor, there are multiple years of him being like the established guy. I'll take JT there. Coyote SB says, I want to sell a tight end, Kincaid or Pitts, and for who? Kincaid or Pitts. I'll be honest with you, my friend. You can't sell Kincaid right now. Nobody's going to be interested. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm being too harsh. But I don't think anybody's going to be interested. They're going to view Kincaid and think he's the same thing as like a waiver wire option. You know what I mean? Like, they'll look at every option on the waiver wire each and every week. Like, right now, would anybody feel comfortable betting everything they have from their bank account that Dalton Kincaid outscores Taysom Hill? I mean, I'm talking about guys that are on the waiver wire for most people. I doubt anyone here is comfortable doing that. Would you bet everything in your bank account on, or even $100 on him outscoring Jonnu Smith? Outscoring Zach Ertz this week? Cole Kmet? Will Disley? You know, it's just... it's so frustrating the way they're using Dalton Kincaid, and he's become just a guy, just another guy in the offense. So, yeah, I think if you're going to sell one of these guys, it has to be Kyle Pitts. And as far as who's equivalent value, I am curious. Badaki does this often. He looks at rest of season rankings on Fantasy Pros. If we look at PPR formats, let's have a look right now. Where's Kincaid valued, or Pitts valued around? So Kyle Pitts, this is where the line is apparently. Okay, so we've got Kyle Pitts here at 90 overall. Got names around him like DeAndre Hopkins, JSN, Josh Downs. None of those names are really appealing. Like, I think what gets appealing to me is the Darnell Mooney's, the Josh Downs. If you need a running back, the Bucky Irvings. So yeah, ultimately, look, like every single player is going to be valued differently by every league. Let me look at rest of season rankings from Flock Fantasy site as well. And let's have a look and see. Okay. So Kyle Pitts, we have him around 65. So right now, Kyle Pitts is going to be valued around the names like Chase Brown, Najee Harris, Lab McConkey, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney, JSN, Tyrone Tracy, Zay Flowers, Brian Robinson, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Waddle, Pollard Connor. That's kind of the range I think you could start to look at. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, I do have another question through the site. Let's go ahead and refresh here. All right, we've got a start sit. Again, guys, website questions will be prioritized. I'll get to any super chats as well. And of course, if there's no donations, we'll get to some normal questions. But I'll always prioritize the website first here. Dan Nerd, thanks for the donation here. It's a start sit question from a Dynasty League. You've got Hurts at quarterback 2. You're stuck between Russell Wilson and Drake May and Jameis Winston. So let's have a think about that. So Russell Wilson is on bye, obviously. You're not going to start him. Drake May versus the Tennessee Titans. Drake May versus Tennessee. I mean, I think we can say the Jets aren't that good of a defense after the last couple weeks. I think we can confidently say that at this point, right? I mean, and then Jameis is facing the Chargers. I think I'm just going to go with Drake May here, man. The rushing upside that he has, we've seen it. It's evident. it was evident through college, and it's translating in the NFL. All right, you're starting Chase, Amon-Ra at tight end. You're between Tucker Kraft and Jake Ferguson. That's a really tough call this week, I'd say. Jake Ferguson, man, what a tough call. Jake just feels more needed, I think, this week. I'm going to go Jake Ferguson there. He's not as reliant on a touchdown to give you a safe floor, so that's the direction I'm going to head. And then at flex, you don't have DK this week, so you're between Tillman and Mooney, Wandale, Kraft. Dang, you lost Diggs. That sucks, man. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, this is really between Tillman and Mooney. Tillman and Mooney. Here's what I'll say. I have these guys pretty much back-to-back in my rankings. And I do think Mooney is a safer play. I think Tillman is a higher upside. All right, so that's how I would play it. I'm probably going to play Darnell Mooney. He is a safer floor, but Tillman does have the most upside. So if you want to shoot for the moon, you can go ahead and put Tillman in there. I'm not necessarily afraid to do it. I just think Mooney, we've seen it more consistently. And it should be a high over-under. Big Johnson, what's up, man? Never got my team analysis. Wide receiver, running back, flex, who starts? Team analysis. What does he mean by that? I'm not sure. But let's definitely help him get this start-sit going. Lamar Jackson, you're definitely starting. At running back 2, man, between Etienne and Tank, this is the way we keep playing it. If Etienne plays, I'm going to start him. If he doesn't, we'll start Tank. I don't like either of these guys in this matchup, though. I'm really not a big fan of Tank Bigsby or Etienne this week, being fully transparent with you. Tank Bigsby is facing the Eagles, and in the last 4 weeks, the Eagles are the second worst matchup for your running back. They've really started to turn things around. So, again, not in love with starting either of these guys, but if Etienne's healthy, he's going to get most of the PPR upside. Garbage time dump-offs, that's where I would lean. Can't sit Tyreek Hill. At tight end, I can't sit Brock Bowers. And then at the flex spot, I'm going to go Jaden Reed here. High over-under, divisional matchup. Jordan Love is healthy. That's a good lineup you got going there. But there is a possibility Brian Robinson doesn't play. And if he doesn't, you're going to have to put both of those Jags out there. That's not going to be fun. That's really not going to be fun. So let's hope that Brian Robinson plays, right? All right, I don't think we have any other questions through the site for now, so we can go over back to YouTube. Yes, we can go back to YouTube. All right, cool. Again, guys, if you want your questions prioritized, you can donate through the website. You do not have to. You're under no obligation, but it is the best way to prioritize your question. All right, super chat here from Coyote SB. We already answered that one. The next one's from Clarity. It says Saints or Chargers defense this week. All right, so the Saints get Carolina, and the great news is not only do they get Carolina, but they also get Bryce Young. They get no Deontay Johnson. That's going to be tough to beat. The Chargers are versus the Browns. I'm going to lean the Saints there. There's just no evidence that the Panthers are going to be able to move the ball. There's no evidence that Bryce Young is going to be a good play. I'd love for that to be different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to come out of this game and say, you know what? Bryce Young has a future. He has a future. But unfortunately, there's just no reason or rationale to feel that way at this very moment. So we'll go Saints there, man. I appreciate you. What's up, Joe Jones? Appreciate the donation, my man. 14-team Dynasty. 1 quarterback PPR. Choose 3. Tillman, Elijah, Wicks, Dortch, Polk. All right, we got to choose 3 here. Whoa. Wow. You're in a tough spot, my friend. Well, Tillman is the obvious start. And then after Tillman, I think based off of recent performances, you got to go Elijah Moore. I think you have to start both of those names. The good news is the Browns are playing the Chargers, so they'll probably be down. That's a tough one, man. Yeah, I'm going to go both of those Browns receivers. And then between Wicks and Dortch, I'm not going to trust Jalen Polk at this point. I'll probably just throw Wicks out there, right? I mean, he has these random blow-up games. We've seen that. So that's my direction, but I have to be honest, I don't like that at all. What's up, John? Appreciate you, man. He says, PPR start Mayfield or Dak? Ooh, good question. We're gonna go Dak Prescott this week. I'm actually a big fan of him versus the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons have been vulnerable through the air. It's difficult to beat them on the ground, but you can beat them through the air. Top 12 range matchup for your quarterback when you adjust for schedule. And then as far as Mayfield goes, no Jalen McMillan, no Evans, no Godwin versus the Chiefs. That's going to be tough. And then 2 running backs between Tracy, Stevens. This is going to be Tracy and Ramondre. 2 wide receivers. I'm going to go Olave and Zay. And then at tight end, we're going to start Laporta over Andrews. Appreciate you, John. All right, we got a super chat here from Andy Maury. Says Waddle or Gesicki in my flex. I'm going to put Waddle out there. Look, there's no hiding that it wasn't an ideal game last week from Jalen Waddle. But to be fair, it wasn't a great game from really any Dolphin not named Devon Achane. They're going to need to throw the ball versus the Buffalo Bills. They're going to have to. So I'm going to go Jalen Waddle there. Big Mac Brad, appreciate you, man. Question 1, start 2. 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Olave versus Carolina. Hunt versus Tampa Bay. Or Tracy versus Washington. This is going to be Olave for me. And Tyrone Tracy. This is not an anti-Kareem Hunt take, by the way. It's just more of a... I trust Tyrone Tracy more. I trust the usage more. He's a more explosive player. He's a younger, more dynamic guy at this point. Kareem is right behind him in my rankings, by the way. They're back-to-back. So it was a tough question. Am I reading this question right? Oh, you also had DJ Moore. Sorry. Okay. So we're also going to consider DJ Moore here. Yeah, it would be Olave and DJ Moore then. It'd be Olave and DJ Moore. My bad for misreading the question. Your second question is start Goff, Knicks. That's a good question, man. That's a great question. I'm a sucker for Bo Nix over here. I'm going to go Bo Nix versus the Baltimore Ravens. I will say this again. You know, it has to be said that ultimately Jared Goff is a safer play, right? Based off what we've seen historically, based off what we've seen this year. I mean, I'd be a fool to sit here and tell you that Bo Nix is a safer play. But I like to party. And if you like to party, Bo Nix is coming off his best ever game as a pro. 3 touchdowns, 4 in total. 3 passing, 1 rushing. It's a good matchup versus the Ravens. In fact, the Ravens are bleeding points to quarterbacks. They're a top 4 matchup for your quarterback. So I like to party. I'm going to go Bo Nix there. And then Ferguson or Otton, I just think Otton's got to be played everywhere. So I'm going to go Otton. All right, we do have some questions through the website. So let's get to those here. All right, first one is from Lauren Smith. It's a start sit. And again, guys, if you want to prioritize your question, website's the best place to do that. There's a link in the pinned comment in the chat. But they've got a 1 quarterback, 10 team start 8. Tight matchup this week. Any input is appreciated. Lauren says you're starting Joe Burrow, Chase Brown. Yeah, Chase Brown over Chuba. That honestly feels right, doesn't it? Yeah, that does feel right. I'm not gonna lie, it's a brain buster at first, but it makes a lot of sense, I think, with no Zach Moss. Great roster, man. I mean, so far, this is a beautiful roster. At tight end, ooh, tough one. Evan Ingram is probably going to drown in targets with no Christian Kirk and maybe no Brian and maybe no Gabe. So I'm going to go Evan Ingram. And at the flex spot, if Brian Thomas plays, you have to play him. There won't be T. Higgins. But this will be Brian Thomas and Chuba Hubbard. And if Brian Thomas doesn't play, I would go ahead and put J.K. Dobbins for the safety, for the touches, as my next flex. Appreciate you, Lauren. Thanks for the question. Fantasy Football 9 here says, lost Godwin and Higgins is tough to trust as my wide receiver 2. So in a trade here, I'll be honest, I don't see... Okay, full transparency, I get getting Nico Collins, but you lose every other side of this deal. You lose going from Burrow to Stroud. You just do. You lose going from Kelsey to Ferguson. You definitely upgrade from Higgins to Nico. But I don't know, man. I'm not obsessed with this personally. Can you remove the quarterbacks? That would be my counter. Hey, let's remove the quarterbacks and call it a day. You get the upgrade at tight end. Or let's remove the quarterbacks and you'll throw in Romeo Dobbs. Right? That's how I would look at this. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming to the website to ask us a question. I'll just double check we have no other questions here before I get back to the YouTube, and we don't. Okay. All right, so the next super chat is from the Bayboy29. He says McConkey or Harrison. You know, Harrison technically had a bad matchup last week. He overcame that matchup, and it's technically a bad matchup this week, but I'm comfortable to put him out there. So this is going to be Marvin Harrison for me. McConkey has the better matchup for sure. You know what I mean? But I am going to rock with Marvin. What's up, Frizzle? It says, May or Murray? Haven't played Murray in 3 weeks. This will be Murray for me. Not a great matchup, but it's certainly better than facing Tennessee, which is what Drake May has. But ultimately, Drake May's rushing upside just gives him such a safe floor. I'm gonna go Kyler there. I'm gonna go Kyler. Better weapons all around him. Imagine what Drake May could do with a Marvin Harrison and a Trey McBride. All right, ISO Flip says trade away Deontay Johnson for Pittman or Pittman for Tracy. If you can move Deontay Johnson for anything close to resembling a Tyrone Tracy, I would do that in a heartbeat. I'm not even like... If I had Deontay Johnson and I had a trade where I got Tyrone Tracy in my inbox, I would accept it so fast. The person would be so suspicious as to how I accepted it so fast. I'd see the notification, instant accept, and they'd be like, oh shit, did I make a mistake? Yeah, you did. You made a mistake. You did. Yeah, give me Tyrone Tracy in a heartbeat. Don't sell Pittman, though. Not with Joe Flacco being named the starter. All right, we got a question here about the website. It's from Suave. And he says, where do I put the question on the site? Okay, there's a couple ways you can do it, my friend. First thing is you can check out the comment, the pinned comment. I just put another one in there, a link where you can ask us a question. And this is what it will look like when you get there, right? And you can see all the different kinds of questions that you can ask. Now, if you're just on the website, you'll notice that there's a little expert advice button at the bottom. That will also take you there. And then on the top right, there's a little message box here, expert advice, that will also take you there, right? So quite a few ways to ask a question through the site. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Let's get back to these super chats. Where was I at? Okay, we did the ISO one. Isaac says Baker, Darnold, or Stafford this week. That's going to be Darnold for me. I like the game versus the Colts, especially now that we have, Joe Flacco on the opposite side, making that Colts offense a little more competent. What's up, Q&G says, is Love a safe start? Yes, sir. I am Zach Suave. We're the land guys over there, okay? Fantasy land. Where were we? Yeah, we answered the Baker Darnold one. Kua says, love a safe start. Look, you know, it's more of a question of like, can he maintain the tolerance of the pain from the groin injury? I don't imagine that they play Jordan Love if they think he's going to exit the game with an injury, but I can't predict an injury. It's just not something I can do. All right. If anyone out there is telling you they can, and then again, ask them what the Powerball numbers are this week, because they can clearly predict the future. But if I had Jordan Love and Joe Flacco, I'd be playing Jordan Love. If he gets injured, okay, but I can't sit Jordan Love if he's healthy in a high over-under. What's up, Buka? Says, Knicks or Kyler? I'm going to go Kyler this week. Kincaid or Barner? I'll go Kincaid. I get the question, but I'll go Kincaid. And then Coker or Wicks? Man, with no Adam Thielen, Coker becomes more interesting. Yeah, I'll go Coker there. But you should have very low expectations all around in that question. Big Mac Brad says, try to link my team to the website, but my phone is not compatible. Did I miss my super chat getting answered? Apologies. Yes, you did, my friend. But it wasn't too long ago, so just scroll back. Just scroll back, all right? We did answer it. We took actually a lot of time answering it, so if you just, you know, when you tap reverse, tap the screen 15 seconds. If you double click it, back, you'll see your question pops up as a yellow bubble. But again, guys, that's another reason why the website is so good, because it sends you a link to exactly when we answer your question, right? Appreciate you, Big Mac Brad. We buy homes near you says non-PPR, one running back, one wide receiver, a flex, Pollard, Hunt, Montgomery, or Rachaad White. We're going to go Monty there. And am I answering? Okay. I guess I'm giving you 3 options between everyone you're listing. So if I'm understanding this properly, Monty's who I'm playing at running back. At wide receiver, I'm starting London. And at flex, I'm starting Jaden Reed. I think I'm understanding that correctly. But let me know if that makes sense, or if I haven't answered it the right way. And then after Reed, it would be Smith, in case you need more answers. Big Mac Brad, by the way, just quickly, let's go back to your question. If I remember properly, we said Olave, DJ, and we said Knicks, and we said Auten. But I explained it previously. What's next? Mr. Rivers is next. Says, wide receiver 2 slot, Tillman, Coleman. I'll go Tillman there personally. I think with Keon Coleman, it's been great, but I just don't think Amari Cooper is going to be that uninvolved. I still think they want to get Cooper involved. Kincaid will have big games. Shakir will have big games. So I just think Tillman is the safer play, actually. And then at flex, is TTJ? Who is TTJ? Is that Tyrone Tracy? Tyrone Tracy Jr., maybe? If that's Tyrone, I'll go Tyrone over all those options. If not Tillman. All right, we did get a question through the site, so let's go to that. Yeah, be Tyrone. Mommy 13. What's up, Mommy? So Mommy submitted a question on the site. Says, hey, not sure who to play at quarterback and wide receiver. All right, at quarterback, you've got Cousins and Bo Nix. Cousins is my quarterback start of the week, my streaming option of the week. If you guys go back and watch my starts of the week video, which I released on Halloween, so it didn't really perform well, unfortunately, but that's that one there. You can go check out that. Kirk Cousins is someone I talk about in detail there. We're starting Aaron Jones, Bijan, Pittman. You're considering Ridley and D-Hop here. and Amari Cooper. This is interesting. This is really interesting. Let me double check my rankings. So we've got Ridley first versus the Patriots. We've got Hopkins versus Tampa Bay. And we've got Amari Cooper versus Miami. That's, wow. These guys are all in the same exact tier. I really don't believe Amari Cooper is going to be this uninvolved. I think he's going to be really important to this offense, but I can't suggest you to start him coming off a game where he has 2 targets. He had the same amount of targets as Dawson Knox. So I am going to go ahead and go DeAndre Hopkins. It's a really good matchup versus the Bucs. I think they'll want to get him going. They'll want to make him happy, if you get my drift. So Hopkins will be our answer, but man, that is tough. My goal for the next however many hours until football starts this week would be to package DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley and go get a clear upgrade. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you can package Hopkins and Ridley, I would want to do that to go get a clear name. Like, Hopkins and Ridley and you get an Olave. Hopkins and Ridley and you get a Terry. A Reed. You know, a Marvin. I'd really be looking to do deals like that. You're good, mommy. I see you in the chat. It's funny that I'm saying mommy. And I would also play Rashad White. Ooh, I think I would play Kareem Hunt over Rashad White. It's close, actually. But let me double check here. That's how I think I'd have it, too. The way you have it set up. Yeah, I do like Rashad White this week. But Kareem Hunt, you know, if they score a touchdown with a running back, it's pretty much a lock to be Kareem Hunt. So, yeah, good team, though. Good team. All right, we've got CB Jack. Says standard scoring. I'm debating wide receiver and flex. All right, so we've got a standard scoring team here, which you don't see very often. Normally, there's some sort of PPR, so that's a little old school. It brings me back to when I first started playing fantasy back in what was like 2002 or something. But Jaden Daniels, I like that. Montgomery in a standard format is fantastic. Neighbors, Sutton. I really like Sutton this week versus the Ravens. Now, look, if Brian Thomas plays, I'm not going to start him over Brian Thomas. So if Brian Thomas plays, you got to start him, and then the answer would be simple in the flex. It would be Tyrone, actually. But if Sutton doesn't play, if Brian Thomas doesn't play, Sutton is a fantastic option to replace Brian Thomas with. So yeah, again, got to start Tyrone based off the usage he's getting right now. But I definitely like Sutton as a replacement for Brian Thomas if he's not able to go. Appreciate you. Very, very kind. It's always awesome to see you guys hitting up the website. I know you guys are starting to love it just like we do. All right. Let's keep on going through some of these super chats, y'all. If you want to get your question prioritized, the website link is in the pinned comment. But the next super chat, I believe, is from Daniel Garcia. Hello, Daniel Garcia. The question is Tyrone or Rashad White. I'm going to go Tyrone Tracy there. Yeah. Ultimately, I mean, he's just like the workhorse in that backfield right now. And I do love Rashad White. I'm not going to lie. Like, the best thing that ever happened to Rashad White and Bucky Irving was Chris Godwin's injury. Not IRL, but just for fantasy. You guys know what I mean. So I'll go Tyrone there. And then Waddle or Jason, I'll go Waddle. Waddle's got that upside, and it's a matchup where I think they're going to really need him. So, the Carolina Panthers are receiving calls from teams interested in Bryce Young. At this time, Carolina is not considering moving him, as they were encouraged by his improvements last week. Yeah, it's weird, Carolina. It's weird how that works, right? So, when you have a young player who's not playing well, and your team is dog shit around him, he doesn't play well. But if you continue to give him an opportunity, eventually he plays better. Yeah, I'll go Waddle, though. I'll go Waddle. Suave JP says, can you give me trade ideas? Trying to upgrade at wide receiver. My wide receivers are Amon-Ra, McLaurin, DK, Worthy, JSN. Well, first off, that's a very good wide receiver room already. Amon-Ra, McLaurin, DK. I mean, you pretty much have, what, arguably 3 top 12 guys. I think a lot of people would dream to have a wide receiver room like that. I don't really want to trade DK right now. I mean, if you're trading DK, it's going to be tough because a lot of people need to win right now. You're going to have to sell him at a discount, right? If you're a team that needs to win right now and you have DK Metcalf and you've been trying to trade him, you've probably found it really difficult because everybody else in your league needs to win. You're not going to have DK this week, and then he's on a bye next week. So it's really hard to sell DK right now, man. I mean, you have to sell him at a discount, and I don't think you should do that. And then I don't see a reason to sell McLaurin. I mean, he's been so good since week 3. I guess, yeah, I'll be honest with you, dude. I don't see a reason to sell any of those top 3 names. Amon-Ra is more of a buy low than a sell high. Yeah, I don't see a reason to sell any of those names, but look, if you can package names like Worthy and JSN, man, that's tough. Yeah. Look, I mean, I would be willing to package like an Amon-Ra and a Worthy and go get a Nico Collins if you are in a position where you can wait. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, like you're a team that's 5-3, 6-2 right now, 7-1. If you can package Amon-Ra and Worthy and get a Nico, I would do that. Wait for Nico to come back and be the wide receiver 1 rest of the way. If you want to sell DK, you can probably sell DK and JSN or DK and Worthy and go get a cup, but I'm not sure that's going to be an upgrade. So you're kind of in a difficult position there, my friend. If you can package Worthy and JSN and find your way into a Debo, to a team that needs to start players this week, if they're down bad, to an Olave, you can do that. But you don't really have like guys that I'd like to sell high. Do you know what I mean? And you don't really have middle of the pack players. You've got 3 studs and you've got 2 guys that are like, no one's really interested in them. But hopefully some of those ideas are helpful. Jonathan, what's up? Says Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Superflex, 4-point passing touchdown. Got to go Trevor Lawrence. There's just no chance he gets replaced because of performance. And Daniel Jones could definitely be replaced because of performance. You know, we've already seen that happen this year. All right, let's keep this thing rolling. Rolling. All right, Lockett, Reed, or Dobbs. Can't sit Jayden Reed. It would be Jayden Reed for me. What's the next one here? Madison or Dowdle. Wow, that's a tough one, isn't it? 2 guys you really don't want to start, but they're fine options. I'll go Madison there versus the Bengals. I feel a little bit better about that. And he also just gets a lot of work through the air. Another one here from Jonathan. Tyrone or Worthy? I'm going to go Tyrone. Tyrone's been so good, guys. You know, I mean, he's really taken over this backfield, and rightfully so. He's been an absolute superstar. And Devin Singletary is not going to stop a Tyrone breakout, in my opinion. Mr. Rivers says, hi again. Different league, non-PPR. Set the lineup here. All right, so we've got a start 4, 5, 6. We've got a, start 7, basically. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tied into flex. All right, the 2 running backs you're starting is Kyron Achane. The 2 wide receivers you're starting is Jefferson Puka, or Jefferson Tyreek. At your tight end spot, you can't sit Trey McBride. Got to play him. And then at your flex, that leaves us names like Puka, Monty, Tracy. We'll go Puka there. We'll go Puka. Yeah. Safe and Sound here with a donation says, play Flowers or Downs at wide receiver 2. I really love Josh Downs this week, guys. I really, really do. I just don't know if I can sit Zay Flowers for him. Yeah, I got to play Zay Flowers. I don't think Deontay's going to be a big factor week 1. I could be wrong. I'll hold my hand up and say I'm wrong if I am. That's my intuition. That's what my gut tells me. So we're going to play Flowers, but man, I'd really, really love to put Josh Downs in my lineups. He's just so fun. He's such a fun player to play this week. I mean, he's the do you like to party type of pick. All right, we did get a question through the website. Let's go there. Okay. We actually have 2 questions through the site. That's my bad. If you guys want to prioritize your questions, you definitely can through our website. Otherwise, I will answer as many as I can with the time that we have today. My Junior 3 says, who do I start in the flex, Marvin or Hunt? So you're starting Josh Allen, Hall, Cook, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, McBride, and you've got, again, Breece Hall, or sorry, you said Marvin, Hunt. Well, I'd play Tony Pollard over Kareem Hunt, personally. Marvin Harrison's a great option this week, too. Man, you're stacked at wide receiver. Good Lord. I'll say this. I think Tony Pollard has a safer floor than Marvin Harrison. Against the New England Patriots, that's one of the better matchups for your fantasy running backs. In fact, it's a top 5 matchup when you adjust for schedule. Which, by the way, a lot of people are getting annoyed that I'm clarifying that recently on my videos. Just so you guys are aware, schedule adjusted fantasy points allowed is not the same as fantasy points allowed. Fantasy points allowed only looks at strictly fantasy points from week 1 to now. That's all it does. All right, it doesn't take into account the schedule that you're facing, how easy or difficult those matchups are. So that's why I try and clarify, because it isn't the same thing. But a lot of people are getting annoyed that I'm saying it so much. Anyway, I do think Tony Pollard is a safer play against the Patriots. I think Marvin is the party play, right? So if you feel like you're going to win, I would put Tony Pollard out there. If you need some upside, I would put Marvin. I think that's how I'd answer it. I would not start Deontay. And yeah, that's my answer. Appreciate you. Keith Land here. Appreciate you, man. Says, not competing this year. Can Tua survive next year? Ooh, I like this. Like this a lot. So this is a Dynasty 2 quarterback trade question. I love the idea of getting Tua here. In fact, on our Dynasty channel this week, we talked about going out and buying Tua. So if you guys haven't watched that video yet, I'll put it in the chat. And actually, if you don't know that we have a Dynasty channel, we do. It'll take up the majority of our time in the offseason. If you want to be aware of what's happening in the NFL draft, if you want to play Dynasty football, if you just want to talk about fantasy football, I mean, we'll be live like 5 times a week over there on that channel in the offseason. Definitely go subscribe. I would just put the link in the chat. But yeah, I've been talking about buying Tua in Dynasty leagues, and this is a perfect example of buying him low. Absolutely love it. Not anti-Shakir at all, just pro Tua. Pro Tua in a 2 quarterback league. I like it a lot, Keithlin. So yeah, great job. I mean, I think we clearly forget that Tua led the league in passing yards last year. He has I think the 5th highest paid contract to quarterbacks, and the offense completely fell apart without him. Talk about job security. This guy, as long as he wants to play in the NFL, I think the Dolphins are going to let him play. All right, we got a super chat here from We Buy Homes Near You. Says, wind and rain in Green Bay and Detroit. Still Reed over Smitty. Yeah, I would. I'd still play Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed is getting these manufactured touches, you know, so like I think he's a little bit less concerning in a weather game, but how bad is the weather? I mean, I guess that's a question we can ask. Weather report, week 9. Let's have a geese, shall we? All right, weather report for week 9. Is there anything all that concerning? So there's a 76% chance of rain. Steady rain and strong winds are expected. Okay. Oh. Can we please just play in domes? This makes things so confusing. Yeah, that's, you know what? I do need to take this into account. Here's what I would say. If it comes Sunday and there are still reports that the weather's going to be terrible and it's not going to clear up, then I would be comfortable to go ahead and make that pivot to a Devonta Smith. But you have to be aware, they might not even need Devonta Smith in this game. You know what I mean? I know that the Packers are going to need Jaden Reed as long as it's not like literally a hurricane. But yeah, that's how I would answer that question. If it's Sunday morning and the games are about to start and they're saying, look, this is a real issue, this weather is going to be a big factor, then I will go ahead and say, all right, let's play Devonta Smith over. They're in the same tier. So yeah, that's how I would play it. Z Blast says trade Waddle for Tracy. I think that's a pretty even deal. Personally. It's hard to find a running back like Tyrone Tracy that you can start each and every week. I do like Jalen Waddle. I think he's going to be much, much better. But that's about as even as it gets. So yeah, I think that's a dead even deal. I really do. I prefer Waddle a little bit more because of his history, but I think it's even. I mean, can you make that a 2-for-2 where you get like Waddle and where you send away Waddle and just as an idea, Bigsby, and you get back Tracy and Downs just as an idea. Flex Jason or Chuba. I think Chuba is a safer floor personally. All right, Jonathan Paisi. I appreciate y'all for being with me, hanging out. Do me a favor, hit that like button to show some love. This is a great time to tell you that you can get a free account on Flock Fantasy. And when you sign up with our promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, I just put a link in the chat, flockfantasy.com/land. When you sign up with the promo code LAND for a free account, you'll get the team analyzer for free, the trade calculator for free. This is what the team analyzer looks like. You can actually add your league as long as you're with Sleeper, ESPN, or Yahoo. Rankings are there for free. Calculator, again, when you use the promo code LAND at sign up for a free account. But wind and rain, Jared Goff or Joe Flacco? Look, and you'll be able to wait on this decision, Jonathan. But again, if the game is about to start for Detroit and Green Bay, and the weather is going to be a huge problem, no question about it, then I would be comfortable going ahead and pivoting over to Joe Flacco in a high upside type of situation. So I have no problem with doing that, playing that by ear, right? All right, Caleb Phillips says Stafford or Knicks, 6-point passing touchdown, down because of Garrett Wilson. Look, Stafford's a great play with both of his guys back and healthy. I like to party, so that leads me to start Bo Nix, because again, I do like to party. But if that concerns you, if that's scary, I get it. I get why you don't want to party sometimes like that. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and put Bo Nix out there. I mean, top 5 in rushing yards amongst quarterbacks, coming off a 4-touchdown game. Has only had a turnover once since week 3. Baltimore is a top 5 matchup for your quarterback, bleeding points in the second half through the air. I'm comfortable to go ahead and put Bo Nix into the lineup there. All right, we do have a super chat from Ghost the Jedi, but I don't see any question. So, I guess we'll wait for his question. Go ahead and pop a question in there, my friend. You don't need to do another super chat. But just so you know, at the moment, I can't see any question that you might have tried to submit. All right. We are going to answer some questions at random. Again, if you guys want to prioritize your question, you can do that through the website. No pressure at all. I've been live for almost an hour, almost 2 hours now. What we'll probably do here is we'll probably go live to the top of the hour, and then I'm going to go enjoy my day with my wife. Okay. My wife, very nice. I like it. All right. Let's answer questions at random. I'm going to try and find people that I haven't really ever interacted with to show them some love. 5 questions at random here, okay? I don't ever remember hearing from Danny UL. And he says Lamar Cousins versus the Cowboys. You can't sit Lamar Jackson. Come on. Come on. You can't sit Lamar Jackson, my friend. There isn't a single player in fantasy football who has scored more points than Lamar Jackson. We cannot be overthinking it too much. Wallahi says Calvin Ridley or Amari Cooper. You know, this is the type of question where you literally take a coin and you just flip it. And you say, I have no idea what the hell is going to happen. Flip a coin. Or if you have a significant other in your life, just say, hey, babe, if they don't know anything about football, this makes it easier. You basically say, which name do you like better? Do you like Calvin Ridley or do you like Amari Cooper? Guys, please do not spam in the chat. That's a one-way ticket to a timeout. All right? I just don't understand. Why do people spam in the chats? It makes me not want to answer your questions. You guys understand that? I'll let you in on a little secret here. All right, too transparent? Maybe, I don't know. If you go to a creator stream and you're spamming the chat, I love you. I appreciate you. I love the enthusiasm. I'm really struggling to understand why people think that makes people want to answer their question. It makes us want to not answer your question. It makes the chat worse for everybody else. I love you. Come on. Let's think these things through, y'all. But right now I have Calvin Ridley 1 spot higher. Wallahi. Good luck. That's a tough one. All right. Earlier we did get a super chat from Ghost the Jedi. And he is back with his question. This is the question. It's Bo Nix, Kirk Cousins, or Joe Flacco. This would be Kirk O'Thuggins for me this week. My quarterback start of the week versus the Cowboys. I'm very excited to see what he does. Bigsby or Tracy? I'm going to lean Tracy there, regardless of if ETN plays or not. And what's a good defense to play over the Denver Broncos? Over the Broncos? Yeah, I mean, the matchup's not great, is it? I mean, I love the Saints at Carolina. I love the Chargers at the Browns, the Commanders at the Giants, the Bengals versus the Raiders. Those are some other options that I like this week, and in that order. All right, we got a super chat from Herberto Lopez. Says, standard 1 flex, Hopkins, Reed, Coleman, Pittman, or Josh Downs. All right, standard league, so that means PPR does not come into play here at all. For me, this is between Josh Downs and Michael Pittman. In a standard league with no PPR, I might lean Michael Pittman there. It's going to be tough. I'll be honest. I don't think anyone can really predict who's going to have the better day between Michael Pittman and Jaden Reed. Or Michael Pittman and Josh Downs. But I'm going to go ahead and say Pittman. Pittman, if there's no PPR at all, I'm going to say Pittman there. ISO Flip says he accepted my trade, Deontay Johnson for Tracy. Thank you. I mean, come on, people. Round of applause. Round of applause for ISO Flip here. Wow. Deontay Johnson owners, there is hope. There is hope out there for you to get a deal done. It would be hilarious if Deontay Johnson comes out and has like 10 catches, 150 yards, and a touchdown this week. I just hate the situation. I just hate. If you talked about worst landing spots, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this. I think this is the worst landing spot Deontay Johnson could have gone for fantasy. I don't think that's an over exaggeration. I really don't. A lot of people probably do. I mean, I'd rather him go to Arizona. I'd rather him go to Buffalo. Maybe Buffalo would have been worse. There's a lot of weapons there. I'd rather him go to Falcons. Bengals would have been better. Probably not the Bears, to be fair. The Browns would have been better. The Cowboys would have been better. The Broncos would have been better. The Lions would have been better. The Texans would have been better. Maybe not the Packers. Maybe not the Colts. Colts would have been better, to be honest, with Joe Flacco. The Rams would have been better. The Jags would have been better. The Vikings would have been better. Chiefs, Saints, Raiders, Giants, Chargers. Maybe not the Eagles. The Niners would have been better. The Patriots, not the Seahawks. Jets would have been better. Bucks would have been way better. Steelers would have been better with Russell Wilson. The Commanders would have been better. The Titans, I think, would have been better. But of course, not everybody's going to agree with me there. All right. Next question here is from Ryan Carew. Says, have Murray and Pat trade Marvin and Kyler Murray for Chase? Interesting question. Have Murray and Pat trade Marvin and Kyler for Chase? The issue is I just don't have any. Yeah. No, I don't think it's crazy to say. I just don't have really interest in Pat Mahomes. Can you trade Pat Mahomes and Marvin for Chase? I'd rather do that. I'd rather keep Kyler Murray. But ultimately, I'd rather keep Kyler Murray. But if you have to send Marvin and Kyler for Chase, I'll do it. I'll take Jamar Chase. I mean, you know, he's maybe the 101 or the 103 range if we redid the draft today. So yeah, it's a tough call, I'll be honest. But I'll take the Chase side. I'd rather keep Kyler. Safe and Sound here says, is St. Brown a must start over Dobbs, Addison, and Shakir? Yeah, absolutely. You cannot sit Amon-Ra St. Brown for these names that are boom bust up and down. No way. I wouldn't do it. If you got the balls to do it, respect. But I wouldn't do it. Ghost of Jedi says, thank you. This is my first time at this fantasy and never do super chats. I have wide receiver questions to ask as well. If you have time, yeah, for sure. Go for it. Hey, you're totally good, Jedi. You're totally good. You know what I would encourage you to do, though, is to check out our website first. If you guys are planning on ever donating, and you don't have to, by the way, like there's no obligation for you to donate. We can never guarantee what questions we will or won't get to. But donating through the website is the best way for both you and for us. And step one is creating an account. Okay. So if you don't have an account yet over on Flock Fantasy, I just put a link in the chat, flockfantasy.com/land. Sign up for a free account. Okay. And when you do, you'll get some of these features for free. For example, the My Team feature. All right. So as long as you have a league with Sleeper, ESPN, or Yahoo, you can link up your league for free and see where you stand amongst the rest of your league. Pretty cool. You get expert consensus rankings for free. You get the trade calculator for free. Again, all by signing up for a free account with the promo code LAND, LAND, flockfantasy.com/land. It's a great benefit for you. And then once you link up your teams, you can ask a question so easily through the website. So yeah, that is an option for you. That link to get to this page is actually pinned in the chat. We do actually have a question in the chat. Ghost, feel free to pop through your question about wide receivers when you have it. But let's go ahead and get to I don't know. It's a start sit. They say, I'm not 100% on starting Cousins. Love the content. So they have Cousins, Love, and Baker Mayfield this week. It's definitely between Cousins and Love. And if the weather keeps up, it's going to have to be Kirk Cousins. Right now, there's reports that the weather could be really bad in that Lions-Packers game. And if that's the case, then I definitely am going to have to play Kirk Cousins over Jordan Love. So stay tuned to the weather. If the weather is fine and it's clear, I think you can start Love, but not if it's pouring down rain the entire game. At running back, got to start Ken Walker. And then you got to start Bijan Robinson. Those are two guys that got to be in that roster. At wide receiver, we're definitely starting Jefferson. We're definitely starting Terry McLaurin. At tight end, Cole Kmet is your only option because the Niners are on bye. And then at your flex spot, you have a lot of great names here. For me, this is Brian if he plays. And if Brian doesn't play, this is Chase Brown. Chase Brown, downtown. Appreciate you. Thanks for submitting that question through the site. Very, very kind. All right, back to the super chats here. And I am probably going to try to end the stream here at the top of the hour. Of course, if you guys are donating, I'm obviously going to answer your questions. But just a heads up, I do need to go spend time with my family. It is Sunday. It is actually Sunday afternoon here in Sydney, Australia. All right, Danny UL with a donation says Lamar or Cousins versus the Cowboys. Plus, I have Mooney. Got it. You can't sit Lamar Jackson, brother. You cannot do it. You cannot sit Lamar Jackson. Nobody in fantasy football has more points than Lamar Jackson this year. I definitely, like, I understand the question, but I just can't do it. If you can do it, if you got the gonads to do it, I respect it, but I can't. I cannot sit Lamar Jackson. Buddy, what's up, buddy? He says, for my flex, I'm debating Marvin, Tracy, or Ingram. Is it crazy to sit Tyreek and put Marvin at wide receiver, then Tracy at the flex? I wouldn't sit Tyreek. I know, he doesn't have a great record versus Buffalo recently, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start Tyreek, Marvin. I love Tracy, but I'm not gonna start him over those names personally. And if I was to start him over one of the wide receivers, it would actually be Marvin. I'd start Tracy over Marvin if you're gonna go that direction, because Chicago's not a good matchup either. Right? So yeah. All right, we did have Ghost donate another super chat, and then he has this question here. He says, I only trust you at this time. I'm 2-6 with friends. All right, well, first off, you have to know there's a lot of randomness to fantasy football, right? What we do here is we just donate as much of our time as we possibly have to try and give you the edge, right? But ultimately, there's a reason they play the game. It's not played on paper, but that's pretty much all I do with my time, is researching how to give people the edge in fantasy football. Researching matchups, researching things like utilization reports. Again, Braden, I don't want to answer your question if you're spamming it in the chat. I feel like I said that last time. Oh, I appreciate you for being here. I don't want to answer your question if you're going to spam it. It only makes it worse for everyone. Come on, guys. We all know this. But the question is Tillman, Coleman, Robinson, McMillan, or Wicks. Tillman, Coleman, Robinson, McMillan, or Wicks. Who to start and have my flex including running backs. Also respect a fellow family man. Appreciate you. So, yeah. 2-6. You're not out of this. You're not. So you have Tillman, Coleman, Robinson. Is that DeMarcus Robinson, McMillan, Wicks? Look, in order, I would play these guys as Cedric Tillman, Keon Coleman, DeMarcus Robinson, McMillan if he plays, and then Wicks. But I don't think McMillan plays. So yeah, that would be my order of those wide receivers, if that makes sense. All right, guys, I am going to end the stream by answering 5 questions at random. There's no more paid questions anywhere, and that is... Oh, there is actually on the website. Let me go to that. Wow, a $16 donation. Very kind of you. I'm going to give you a free trade question voucher. I appreciate the extra tip on top of that question. But Glide 27, it's an 8-team start 7, and they're starting Patrick Mahomes. I would start Dak Prescott over Patrick Mahomes. Funnily enough, in the Flock League, I'm actually facing Corey, and I've been asking him to start Pat Mahomes. I personally trust Dak Prescott versus the Falcons in garbage time more. Then you've got Bijan. After that, you've got... I think you need to start Josh Jacobs, especially if the weather's going to be a problem. After that, at wide receiver, I would go ahead and play Marvin. You've got Adams in there. It's a great start to the week for you. And at flex, my goodness. My goodness. Wow. This is going to be between the running backs for me. And we're going to lean Chase Brown versus the Raiders. I love Josh Downs, though, man. I'm actually starting Josh Downs over Marvin Harrison this week, guys. I know that sounds crazy. Don't do it if you don't want to, okay? If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I'm starting Josh Downs over Marvin versus that matchup for Marvin. I prefer Josh Downs. Best matchup for your wide receiver. That's how I'd rock with your lineup. Good luck. That is a tough one. You have a lot of great options, which actually makes it more difficult to answer the question. All right. We're going to end the stream by answering 5 questions at random. Okay. And then we're going to call it a day here, y'all. All right. 5 questions at random and quick fire. Let's start with Christopher. It says, new to the channel, would you start Puka or Tillman? Got to start Puka. You can't sit Puka, in my opinion. That's question 1. Foreskin said, Knicks or Flacco? I'm going to go Bo Nix. Good luck. Me says, I need 2 full PPR. Hunt, Downs, Jacobs. I can't sit Josh Jacobs. I'm going to go Jacobs and Downs. Good luck. That's 3. 4 is... let's go Fetty Wap. It says, pick one, Waddle, Tillman, or Myers. This would be Waddle for me, but I think Myers is actually the floor play there. And the last one of the day. Unfortunately, I can't answer everybody's questions. It would just never end. I would just never stop streaming. And I love that you guys are here. I love that you love the channel being around me. That's very kind. But opposite. We're going to go opposite. Dowdle or Leggett this week. I'm going to go Dowdle. I just don't trust Leggett with Bryce Young. There's just not enough evidence that we can start him. All right. Did everything I could today for you guys. Did everything I could. I appreciate y'all for being here with me on the stream. Here's what I will say. If you need a question answered, all right, a lot of you want, you know, it's not necessarily a need, let's be honest. But if you need a question answered, we will be answering questions on our website all the way up until kickoff. So that is available to you. The link in the pinned comment. If you want to submit a question there, I'll be answering questions offline all the way up until kickoff. So you do have access to me if you need it. I appreciate y'all for being here. You know, so much content out on the channel right now. Go give that a watch. And I'm going to go hang out with my wife. Enjoy the rest of the weekend that I have over here. I appreciate y'all. All love. Good luck.